Hello, my name is Gladys Herrera-Berkowitz, and I'm Director of Student Engagement Programs. Today, I'm here to talk to you about presenting at the Undergraduate Research and Creative Activities Symposium. I'm going to go over the logistics and some tips to make sure that you have a pleasant experience in presenting your research. Okay, so this year we are going to be hosting a hybrid program. We are going to have oral presentations in the categories of emerging research, creative projects, and completed research presented live via Zoom. Emerging research and creative activities will be hosted on May 10th, and each of those presentations will be 10 minutes apiece. On May 11th, we will be presenting completed research, and those presentations should be up to 15 minutes. Lastly, on May 12th, we are going to present poster sessions, and these are going to be in person, hosted by the Bell Tower. So we're really excited about this new opportunity to have students in person. So expectations for your oral presentations. We will be hosting again during May 10th and 11th, all of the oral presentations. Students will have resources to have a professional presentation. So the first part of the presentation is a moderator introducing you. So all students have been asked to provide a 50-word introduction that will be read by the moderator. And you will go through your presentation. The moderator will alert you as your time is coming to an end. We will ask you to record your presentation starting from the moment that you start your presentation. So you don't need the introduction and you don't need the question and answer section. So just when you're presenting. We will have a question and answer session, and the symposium is a wonderful event where we want to include your fellow students, your faculty mentors, friends and family. So make sure that you let everybody know to join you in the session. And the great thing about Zoom is that you can have family members that are, in another state to join you. So this is something that we've been very excited about. Okay, so resource page. So we have a link to our main resource page, which I will provide to you. You see it here on the screen. This is a very important page because on this page, you're going to have lots of information, including this video. We will talk to you about attire for your presentation. This is where you're going to be able to access virtual backgrounds, similar to what I have behind me right now. You're going to get all the information about what our expectations are. So make sure that you bookmark this and that you reference it as you prepare for your presentation. Okay, number one, we want to make sure that those of you that are going to be recording your presentations have an updated Zoom version. So the way that you do this is that you open up your Zoom account on your desktop and you go to this upper corner. You'll see an image of yourself or your name, but this is where you want to click. Once you click on that, it will bring up this image that you see here that, number one, tells you that you have a licensed account. That's really important because it will make sure that you're able to record and that you're not cut off in the time that you're presenting. It will also allow our host to set you up as an alternate host, and you can access our sessions much quicker. You want to make sure that you check for updates. So I encourage you to do this as soon as possible so that, again, you make sure that you have the latest version and that all the technologies will work smoothly during the presentation. When the schedule is finalized, we will then provide you with the link to the session that you're coming into to present. So make sure that you be on the lookout for that and that you put it in a safe place so that you can access it when it comes time to check in for your presentation. Okay, symposium sessions. So we want to make sure that you're arriving at least 15 minutes before your presentation. This will provide ample time for you to join the session, meet your moderator, answer any questions that there might be, determine the order of presentations that will happen, test your screen and sharing capabilities, and any other technical glitches that might occur, we can take care of it during those 15 minutes. So make sure that you put that on your calendar. And again, you're proactive and you are prepared. We highly encourage you to test the recording capabilities on your computer. Make sure that you practice your presentation. So again, when you show up on the day of your presentation and time, you're going to come into the link that we provide you. Within that link, we're going to ask you to go into the breakout rooms that are designated. So you're going to be told that you're in track 1 through 50. So you need to know what track you're in, and then that will determine the breakout room that you're going to. But we'll also have a list here, as you can see, of the names of the people that are presenting during that track. It's also important that you let your guests know what track to come into, because they're also going to have that same link, and they'll be waiting in the waiting room until we're ready to start the session. Okay, presentation etiquette, and this goes for whether you're doing an oral presentation or a poster presentation. You're representing your research. You want to come off as a professional, so we highly encourage you to wear business attire. Keep your cameras on during your presentation, and when you're not presenting, make sure that you mute it so that you don't have any distractions. We want all students to use the Symposium virtual backgrounds, and that initial website where I told you there's a lot of resources, that's where you'll find the virtual background. And we've created one for each college. So determine the college in which your research is taking place and use that as your background. You are expected to remain in the session for the entire hour that you've been scheduled. So you want to be supportive of your fellow presenters, and therefore you want to be present as much as you want them to be present for yours. Also, please make sure that you let your guests know. It's very distracting to have people popping in and out. So if they're coming, we also would like them to stay for the entire hour. We also want you to be engaged. So there's going to come a session after your presentation. We're going to have a question and answer session. The audience may have lots of questions, or there may be a point where it's silent, there are no questions. So you are highly encouraged, and this is part of your professional development, to listen to your co-presenters and have at least one question ready that you can pose. And again, keeping that whole event moving forward smoothly and giving everyone an opportunity to be able to answer questions about their research. Okay, so again, I mentioned earlier that the Zoom backgrounds are in the resource page, presenter resource page, but here's the link once again. We want you to download it, save it on your computer, and then use it during your presentation. And again, we want to make sure that you're downloading the virtual background that represents the college in which your research is being conducted. For those of you who don't know how to use a virtual background, when you are in Zoom, you are able to select background and filters. There's a little plus sign right here where the arrow is pointing. Select that, and then that gives you the option to choose your virtual background. When you've uploaded that virtual background, it'll show you all of your options. So you'll select the one that you want to use. The other thing that you should take note of is, from your view, the virtual background information should be backwards. Okay, so make sure of that, and also test it. Make sure that you present and you have somebody on the other end confirming that indeed everything looks good on that end. Okay, so we are going to require each presenter to have the same first slide. And so the first slide will be this image that's consistent for the symposium, this virtual background. On it, we want you to have your name, your presentation title, your college. That'll actually already be on the slide. Make sure that you have your breakout room and track session. All that should be on your first slide of all of your presentations. So when you arrive, again, we will give you the link to get into the main Zoom session. And then from there, you'll have breakout rooms that you're going to go to depending on your track number. So make sure that you have that information. You're going to meet with your moderator. Some moderators may reach out to you ahead of the presentation, and in other cases, you may be meeting that person for the first time. So it's really important that you answer any questions they might have. As I mentioned, you have a 50-word intro that they're going to use as soon as they're introducing you. You will also need to decide the order in which each of you will be presenting. We also want to make sure that you're able to share your screen, that your recording capabilities are fine. I would highly encourage you that when you're in the room, you do a quick test and just make sure that, yes, you're recording and everything's going to where it needs to go. Panelists should all make sure that they're muted. All of the guests, when they come in, will be muted. So only the moderator will be able to speak to everyone, and we'll ask you to unmute when you're ready to present. Okay, so recording your presentation. Some of you may have some experience doing this. Others of you, this might be your first time. So we're going to walk through how to do this. The moderator is going to take a few minutes to introduce you. You don't need to record the introduction. When you are set to start your presentation, that's when you want to share your screen and start. And as soon as you're ready to start your presentation, that's when you want to hit the record button. You want to make sure that you introduce yourself by giving your name, your major, your faculty mentor's name and department, and the title of your talk. Although the moderator will give you some warnings, you also want to track your time. Depending on whether you're doing emerging research, creative activities, or completed research, you're going to have different time slots that you're supposed to stay within. So emerging and creative activities is 10 minutes per presenter. Completed research is 15 minutes. Make sure that you stay on that time because you want to be respectful to your other co-presenters, that they have enough time to present and answer questions, and that the session itself stays on time. When your presentation is complete, stop recording. You don't want to record the question and answer session. So it's essentially your entire presentation. You don't need the introduction, and we don't need the question and answer session. Okay, so when you're on the screen, you have you're sharing your presentation. You want to record your session. So you want to go to the bottom of your screen and you see a section that says record. When you hit the record button, it's going to ask you where you want to record to. So it could go on your computer or you can send it to the cloud. Again, I would test this ahead of time to make sure that you have access and you understand how to retrieve your recordings, whether it's on your desktop or on the cloud. One thing to consider, some students may have an older computer that maybe doesn't have a lot of room to host the recording. So that's when you would want to do it on the cloud. But again, it's your preference and your comfort in how to retrieve that information once you're done. So to confirm, once you've hit the record button, you'll get another message that says record onto this computer or the cloud, whatever you've selected. So you say yes, and at that point, your presentation will begin to be recorded. When you have completed your presentation, you're going to hit the stop button at the bottom of the screen. This, again, you want to do this before you start your question and answer session. And the processing of the recording actually takes a little while and will not start until this session has closed out. So check on it maybe like within 30 minutes to an hour after you've completed your presentation. You'll get a message. The recorded file will be converted to an MP4 when the meeting ends. So again, give it some time to get it. If you record it to your computer, you should go to the documents and then Zoom folder, and that's where you'll find your recording. If you record it to the cloud, you need to go to this website, log in, and then on the left, you'll see a drop down where you'll see recordings, and you should be able to find your recording there. We will ask you to save your recording in this format. We want you to list your track number, your last name. And on that resource page that I showed you earlier, we will have a link to the Google folder where we want you to drop your recording on. So make sure that you put it in the correct folder. Again, if you're presenting on day 1, emerging research or creative activities, you will put it in that folder. If you're presenting on day 2, completed research, make sure that you put it in the completed research folder. Okay, poster presentations. Poster presentations for the first time in 2 years is going to be done in person. We're going to be outdoors by the bell tower. There'll be some canopies and the poster boards will be there. We will communicate with you at what time you need to come in and put your posters up. The morning people who are going to be presenting at 11 o'clock, you'll have a little bit more time where I'll ask you to have everything up either by 9 or 10. Again, we'll send you a communication with the exact time to bring your posters. We will assign you alphabetically by college and we'll tell you which tent you're going to post your poster. You must be present for the entire hour of your poster presentation session. So if you're presenting at 11 o'clock or at 12:30, make sure that you allocate enough time to be there for that hour. Again, just like with the students that are presenting via Zoom, you want to dress in professional, business casual. So you want to be professional. You're representing your research and dressing professionally is part of that, that courtesy to people who are coming to learn about you. And again, that professionalism you want to show. With a poster, you might have people just walking up and asking you questions about it, or you may need to be more proactive and step out and talk to people as they're passing by and say, hello, would you like to learn about my project? You should also practice a 1-minute pitch about what is your project? How can you get us excited that we want to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes listening and learning about what you've been doing? So have a 1-minute pitch to lure people in. That's going to be your hook. Once you have your audience, then you want to give that full pitch. And again, depending on your discipline, your pitch can be anywhere from 5 minutes up to 10 minutes. So talk to your faculty mentor, practice your presentation. Also, as you're practicing your presentation, be prepared to think about what are the questions people might ask me and how can I answer them? What do we know about the research right now that I'm fully comfortable answering? And you never know what kind of questions you're going to get. Do not be afraid to say, I don't know, or we haven't gotten that far. But I would highly encourage you to have a notebook where you jot down questions that people have asked, or sometimes people will give you advice and say, hey, have you thought about approaching your problem in this manner? So jot that down. This would be a great conversation to have with your faculty mentor after the event to say, these are some things that were brought up. Maybe we can discuss how this might influence what we do next with the research. Okay, now poster printing. So we do not cover the cost of that. This is something that you would fund. And if you've been funded by a mini grant or a research program, perhaps they might fund the poster printing. But we wanted to give you resources of where you can print your poster. The University Printing Campus Business Services provides this service to you. So you can have your poster printed. You want to make sure that you plan accordingly. There are about 80 students who are presenting at our conference, but there might be people that are presenting outside of the university or in other departments. So you want to make sure that you get your poster in on time so that if there is a rush, you are guaranteed that you're going to get your poster printed. So they recommend that you submit your print order at least 3 days in advance of when you need it. I would like to have a little more wiggle room, so it's up to you, but at least 3 days. The estimated cost for poster printing is about a little over $81. The poster is going to be large, so they're going to give it to you folded. If you're comfortable holding it like that, that's fine, but just make sure that it doesn't crinkle and so forth. So they do offer you the opportunity to purchase a tube where you would carry your poster. If you plan to present it at more than one venue, I would recommend getting a tube, and that way if you're traveling, your poster is well protected. We have listed here where you would pick up your poster and the contact person to place the order. $81 is a lot of money. So if you are limited on funding or you just don't want to spend that much, the other option is to print at the Orbach Library. We have the links here. There is a large printer there that can be utilized. And again, remember, there's more than 80 students that are presenting at our symposium, plus anyone else who needs to do printing. So you need to plan ahead. They highly recommend that you make an appointment to bring your document in to have it printed. I would recommend that you do that because that area is not always staffed, so you don't want to show up and find out that they closed for the day. So make an appointment. Their cost is only $20. The poster is going to be printed on thinner paper. It's not going to be glossy like what you're getting from the business office. So consult with your faculty member and make sure that that's okay. But again, there's a difference between $81 and $20. So it's up to you what you would like to do. And again, plan ahead. Your other option is to go to FedEx Kinko's. Here we have information about the cost of it. So, and locations that you can reach out to. So they're about $75. So just slightly less expensive than printing it on campus. But again, make sure that you do it with plenty of time to ensure that you have it in your hands before the day that you're presenting. So thank you for listening to this video. If you have any questions, reach out to our office. We're very excited to have you guys presenting at the symposium. This is one of the highlights of the university to see the kind of work the students are doing across all disciplines, and particularly now that we're coming out of the pandemic, to be able to host some of you in person is going to be quite a delight. So we look forward to seeing everyone. Remember to invite your friends and family. Zoom makes it much easier for people that are at a distance to join and see your presentation. But also during the poster sessions, if you can invite friends and family to come, it'd be fantastic to have them see what you've been working on for the last year or possibly longer. So again, my name is Gladys Guerra-Berkowitz. I thank you for listening to this video. If you have questions, my email is right here. And I wish you the very best on your presentation. We look forward to seeing you.